Hey everyone, welcome back to the Last Movie Room podcast. I'm your host, Josh Gilliam. I'm joined as always by my co-host, Alex Cantor.
Hey guys.
All right, this week we're talking about the movie Caught Stealing from starring Austin Butler, Zoe Kravitz, Matt Smith. I was really excited for this one.
I was too. I know we talked about whenever the last episode was, we both said that we were excited for this when we were planning out the review. Yeah, I thought it was great.
Yeah. No,
I mean,
this
I was
one,
excited going into it, and I certainly I don't think I was disappointed. And from talking to you a bit, I don't think you were either.
no, I think this movie really this did it for me. After having to watch Nobody 2 for the last episode, this really this was good. I enjoyed this.
Yeah, I mean it's also sort of an actiony movie, so yeah, I did enjoy it.
Yeah. So we'll do our spoiler-free review and then our spoiler-heavy review, which will be like intense because so much happens in this movie.
Yes, that so
But
much happens that will be sort of hidden behind a spoiler wall for the first bit.
it has to. There at a certain point you just absolutely cannot discuss this movie without
Yeah,
spoilers.
yeah.
So I have my notes. I guarantee you have no notes.
yeah, no, I have no notes. I don't know why I tried to bluff my way through it.
But Alex, what do you think of this?
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed it. I was excited for it, sort of broadly speaking, I was excited for going in, as you know. Um, and early on in the film, though, I wasn't sold on it. In the first maybe, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes, I wasn't too sure because I thought it wasn't going to be the movie I was expecting it to be. Um, and then, and again, we're not talking about spoilers yet, but all of a sudden a lot happens and it becomes a totally different type of movie. And yeah, I started really enjoying it. I thought it had some really cool themes, some really cool action, some great performances by the actors, and also it was kind of funny as well. It had a bit of everything. I thought it was a great movie.
Totally agreed. I actually also I walked into this and I will say I showed up maybe 3 minutes late. So I missed when he like picked her up in the bar and I missed that, but I feel like that was very inconsequential overall.
Yeah, that's true. Um, 3 minutes late. If you're 3 minutes late to the movie, I think that means you have to be like half an hour late, right? Because there's always loads of trailers at the beginning.
I was so late for this. Showing up, I was like caught in traffic. I went to work beforehand and then I stayed late at work without realizing it and it was a absolute disaster. And then I got home and my girlfriend was like, "We have to leave right now." And I was like, "Or I could sit on the couch for a quick second." So I was even more late because of that. But yeah, this I think this was great. I really enjoyed the cast in this. I think Austin Butler is phenomenal in this. I also really like Matt Smith and I don't historically care for Zoe Kravitz. Like she's done some good things. I liked her in The Batman, but that's honestly about it.
But yeah, I mean, I guess, as we've seen from the trailers, this movie stars Austin Butler. He's in almost every scene, I think, in his film, and I thought his performance really helped out with the movie. And he's sort of left with the cat by this Russ guy played by Matt Smith.
Yeah.
As Matt Smith disappears off to England early on in the movie, and then turns out that you know, Russ left some bad business behind that Austin Butler's character gets caught up in, and sort of yeah, some it's like 1990s New York crime action thriller movie that I thought was great.
Yeah.
Interestingly, the guy who directed this, Darren Aronofsky, the
Yeah.
last thing he did was The Whale, and I thought this was
Yeah.
very different than that. But in a good way. I mean, they're both good films, but I really enjoyed this.
Darren Aronofsky's he's done a bunch of good stuff. I don't know if you ever seen like Black Swan or I think he's done a lot of like independent kind of films. Like he did The Whale, Black Swan, Requiem for a Dream. I don't know if you ever seen any of
I
these.
have not
Real cinema heads.
real cinema heads know.
Yeah. Oh, I'm looking it up. He did Jackie. The
Oh,
that was Natalie Portman, and she was like Jackie Kennedy. That was pretty good.
but yeah, I guess there's a lot of stuff to talk about with the movie. Even though we're staying spoiler free for the moment.
Nah, there wasn't that much.
There wasn't that much to talk about. And we already touched on the cast and the great acting there. But like I said, it's an action crime thriller movie, and I thought all of the sort of action scenes throughout the movie were really well shot. There's like a car chase later on in the film that I enjoyed.
Hmm.
And overall, I liked how it made you feel like this guy, Austin Butler, was just a regular dude. That I mean, what I was saying earlier on in the film, where I wasn't as much a fan of it, they sort of, and you see a bit of it in the trailers. He's this like badass, you know, guy working in a bar, got Zoe Kravitz for a girlfriend, everything's going great. But
Loves
then yeah,
baseball.
they sort of, you know, you feel like it's 1990s in New York and he's caught up in more than he can handle, and it doesn't make light of the crime and the violence that, takes place. Although
Yeah.
there is still some sort of humor elements.
I do love how they portray New York in this movie because it's so like dirty and grimy and gross. And like you said, there's a car chase sequence. The car in this movie fucking rules. He has like welded
Yeah,
iron
and
bumpers.
and Russ, the Matt Smith character, has a mohawk, and
Hmm.
the top of the car gets taken out so this mohawk can fit in the car. I thought that was great as well. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think like stylistically, this was really good. For me, this might be one of the best movies of the year.
I honestly think so too. I mean, like we talked about big blockbuster movies like Superman, which was really good, and Fantastic Four and stuff like that. But this was such a like, although I was excited from the movie based on the trailers, I was what the sort of plot and the themes that they talked about, and it got kind of deep. I was still blown away by. I think it is
Mhm.
also one of the best movies of the year, and yeah, it's really good, and you don't expect it to be, which makes it even better.
Yeah, I know. And this, I will say, was elevated for me because he's a San Francisco Giants fan.
Yeah,
And
that was a sort of reoccurring plot throughout the movie.
it's so heavily drawn upon that it's like you could be this baseball guy, but then he's like every time he talks to his mom, he's like, "All right, go Giants." It's like,
Yeah,
I love that because I'm also a Giants fan. I love all San Francisco sports teams.
even living across the country.
Yeah, living in Florida. No, my family's from California, so I just kind of we grew up watching San Francisco for sports and um just kind of how it was. Big 49ers fan. The football season's about to start this Sunday. You think I'm not hyped?
We've got a draft in an hour and a half
Yeah,
for
we do.
fantasy.
I'm about to drive just 49ers. Just Purdy and CMC. I don't need anyone else.
Yeah, and then they'll get injured in week one.
Yeah. Yeah, when Brock Purdy inevitably like gets shot on the in the middle of the field.
Yeah,
I also think the music in this is really good.
I
Like there's
agree.
just some really good sound design in this movie.
Yeah. And man, I mean, it's just so well written. Like all the um, like again, we're not talking about spoilers, but like I said, Austin Butler's character just gets sort of caught up in this like world of crime based on what happens with Russ, like the sort of business that Russ was in. And there's lots of different sort of players, I guess, representing different areas of crime, families of crime, I guess you could call it.
Yeah, there's
Um,
like the Hebrews, the Puerto Ricans.
yeah, and I didn't know this. Just looking at the cast list, Colorado is played by Bad Bunny.
Really?
Yeah, seriously, which I didn't know. Anyway, that's crazy.
What I really
But yeah,
loved is one of the
you got the Ukrainians as well. I mean, anyway, all these different parts play so well together. Which yeah, they sort of I mean they sort of do it by showing up at different points throughout the movie, but I still thought that everything sort of weaved together, and the conclusion at the end I thought was like probably the perfect ending for this movie and really symbolic.
um yeah, I agree. It's hard to get into it without spoilers. I will say some of my favorite actors in this were the Hebrews, who I did
I
not
agree.
realize were played by Liev Schreiber and Vincent D'Onofrio.
I'm looking at the cast now.
Like they're so heavily under makeup that I did not realize until afterwards looking at the cast list. I was like, holy shit, they're it's Liev Schreiber and Vinny D. And like you said, Bad Bunny was the Puerto Rican guy. Did not realize that.
Yeah. I thought honestly my favorite character was the microbe guy. Um, the like short Ukrainian guy. I thought he was really funny.
The one who's like a
Oh shoot,
actual
you're
dog.
right. That's crazy. The Ukrainians, yeah. I had no idea either. I thought, I mean, it seems like there's a lot of, with the exception of like Austin Butler after success in Elvis, and I guess Matt, lots of people know who Matt Smith is,
Yeah.
and Mad Money apparently. There's a lot of actors that, yeah, I hadn't seen before. It's crazy that these two massive name actors were in such heavy makeup that you couldn't recognize them, and then all the other people were like, uh, I mean, it really is only so many people, people casting this.
Yeah, there's
The
not that
characters are
many
recurring
people in
enough
this
that you get to
movie.
know who they are.
One
Um,
of my favorite characters is the neighbor when he's like
oh
things are
yeah,
happening
yeah,
outside the apartment and he's like, I'm gonna call the cops and they're like, okay, we'll do it. And he's like, well, I'm gonna and Austin Butler's like, no, please actually call the police.
yes, yeah, because he's been threatened to for a while. Anyway, it's like moments like that that give it the comedy element, but it's still a super serious movie, I think, as well. But yeah, like I said, it's hard to talk about without talking about spoilers, but it's really good. Everyone should go see it if you didn't see it opening weekend because
Yeah.
it's unexpected, I think. A lot of it, and that yeah, I don't know if watching it knowing some of the spoilers would lessen your experience. It probably would have been, but I think that it's just a really good film that like
Yeah.
yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I agree with you. I think it's one of the best movies of the year
I feel
just
like this
overall.
is I went and saw this in a Dolby theater and it was so loud.
Oh, I
So
did, yeah, I did notice at some points that the music was significantly louder than there's a couple scenes. I don't know if maybe it was the mixing of the theater I was in, but the music was like way louder than the some of the scenes with when they're driving around with Matt Smith with Russ and
mhm.
they're playing the sort of rock music. I think it's around that car chase scene. That music
Yeah.
was loud. You're right.
It was that and it's when he's randomly having like nightmares and it would just like flash
Yeah, and then he'd wake
and
up. Yeah, that was loud too.
those were ear-shatteringly loud, especially because I was in a Dolby theater. It's the biggest movie theater I've ever been in. It is like I had to climb not just in the theater, climb stairs to get up, like outside the theater. It's basically the theater, and then there's a balcony.
Really?
And I was up in the balcony, so like I can see the speakers.
And you can see them vibrating with the sound.
Yeah, there was one part where it's like they're driving and my seat was just shaking from all the
That's part of the
noise.
Dolby experience.
It is,
You
but it
feel
was
like you're
just
in
like
that
it was
beat up
so
car.
intense.
Anyway, yeah, they talk about some really deep themes. I think you've got like alcoholism, sort of grief and accountability and the family as well in there. And yeah, anyway, I thought it was really good.
I
What
thought
do
it
you
was
give this
incredible.
out of? We come up with something new every time, don't we? What do you give this out of three? What would you give this out of three Matt Smith Mohawks?
I would give this three big old Matt Smith mohawks.
I would as well. Really good film, man. If I wish the only like I wish I could watch it again, not knowing what's gonna happen, because that was so crazy.
I know. I want to like take someone to go see this movie so I can like experience it
Yes,
through
yes.
someone
So I can
else.
see them react to it happening.
Because it was really good. I took my girlfriend to see it. She did not enjoy this like I did.
Really,
She did not she's not a big fan of like if you do not like kind of not really gory but like hyper violent kind of movies, this is not for you. But as someone who grew up playing Call of Duty and is desensitized to all that, I thought this was phenomenal.
video games cause violence, man.
Hmm.
Write it down.
Yeah. So, you ready to get into heavy spoilers?
I'm ready to get into heavy spoilers.
There's almost no other way to talk about this movie besides
Yeah.
that. So, major spoilers, everyone. I so incredibly urge you, if you've not seen this, to please go watch this. Um, Holy shit, so much happens in this movie.
Yeah, I know. Like we are saying, both of us, I texted you this and you had the same thought. Wasn't sure, whatever, 10, 20 minutes in. Because I was just like, okay, this is just Matt Smith being like a badass bartender, whatever. I mean, it sort of really eases you into it. Like I talked about the themes that they talk about, right? So like, for example, the alcoholism. At
Hmm.
first, it's just like, oh, he's a badass bartender. He does shots with everyone at the bar, goes home, has a drink. Hot Zoe Kravitz comes over. It's great. And then the next morning, he opens like another Miller High Life, and it's like, oh, it sort of eases you. Then you start picking
Yeah.
up on, oh, this is like maybe whatever. He's not such the badass, whatever. Um, and then yeah, all of a sudden you're thrust into this through Austin Butler's eyes, thrust into this world of like crime where I think a lot of like the writing really held up. He did exactly what I think an average person would do when faced with like this impossible choice. It made if you me made you feel like this is an impossible choice.
Hmm.
How do these people like are violent, they know who you are, they think you're involved, you have no idea what's going on. What are you gonna do? And there's all these different, crime syndicates, if that's what you want to call them, at play. And yeah, and, they're like beating his ass. He's like hiding. He's got, he finds the key. You're like, what do you do with the key? I don't know. I think in some films it wouldn't make sense because you'd be like, oh, why are you calling the cops? Whatever. You know what I mean? But you're like, yeah, he's just a normal dude. I'd probably call the cops too. I'd be scared as
Yeah,
shit.
right?
Um, and you know what? Everything he does makes sense. And they still write it so well that he's forced to make the choices that make it a sick action movie as well.
Hmm.
And this we're not even talking about the crazy twists throughout the movie yet. You're taking on such a ride with the movie that yeah, I had such a great time.
I feel like there are two really big twists in this. And
Yeah.
after that, it's kind of like, all right. Actually, I would say there are three. And one kind of plays off the back of another. But he's like talking to a cop who's played by, is it Regina? Yeah, Regina King plays this detective. And she's like, oh, you're a little bit of a baseball fan, huh? And they're just kind of talking about, like, okay, you're wrapped up in some like really bad shit, dude.
Yeah, and I was like, "Oh, she's being a good cop. Like she's like she knows something." That whole scene in his apartment where it's like going back and forth. Or like she's doing her job, whatever, and um yeah, I mean, I don't know which twist you want to be talking about first, but one of them
Um,
is who Detective Roman turns out to be.
well, let's start here. Um, I don't, like I said, I don't really care for Zoe Kravitz. And from the trailers, it kind of looked like she was going to be like, well, you got to fucking fight the mob, okay? Because I got to know you can handle your shit. That is
Yes,
not
that's what I
what
thought it was gonna
happens.
be, was him being badass, like, he's too ready to jump into the crime thing, and then I'm like, okay, I'll just suspend my disbelief because it's cool him fighting crime. But in fact, it was the exact opposite. He really was like sort of scrambling the whole way, until
Yeah.
he like, gets to the very end and he becomes the main character and everyone thinks he's cool. But um, yeah, he's sort of like finding his way through it. And like you said, it doesn't shy away from like the horror and violence of crime because they straight up kill Yvonne, Zoe Kravitz.
Yeah. And like, my girlfriend looked distraught when they come in
Yeah,
and
that was
find the pool of
crazy.
blood. And
I was like, oh, he's gonna get there and talk to her. And then open the door and look in, and I'm like, oh, she's like unconscious. She's being beat up. And then the blood is pooling, and I'm like, oh my God, did she just die? And
yeah.
then it cuts to the police station, and they're showing the photos. Like, you are, able to sort of get into the mind of the protagonist and be like, because he's probably in the same thoughts. He's like, oh my God, I got to get there in time. You're thinking as the audience, is he gonna get there in time? And then you're like, oh, she's on the floor. Is she okay? He's thinking the same thing. It's like, oh my God, she's dead. And he's coming to terms with it as you're coming to terms with it. And
Yeah.
anyway, I was like, oh my God,
It
it's
was
crazy.
intense.
At that point, the movie like totally changed tone, obviously, but I thought that it was amazingly well done twist.
No, that really makes it go from like 0 to 100. The fucking her getting just executed, really, because even in the thing they say, like, it's to the side of her head is where that bullet entered.
Yeah.
So that was like actually insane.
Yeah, that's the first like major twist. And um you sort of, you know, tie it into maybe it's these Hebrews, like that crime, the brothers, because you're
Mhm.
hinted at it by Detective Roman early on in the movie. Um, as them being bad people, she's like, this is their MO, this is what they do, which plays into the second major twist in the film, which is that Detective Roman is a crooked cop. She's working with the Puerto Ricans and the Ukrainians,
Yeah.
also in for a cut of the money that um, Matt Smith's character like is sort of taken care of.
Mhm. Yeah, also the trailers really make it look like Matt Smith took it all when in fact he is like their broker. Like he's in
Yes,
charge of holding
yes.
on to it.
I mean, the trailers make it look like Matt Smith is going to play a much bigger part than he does, and we'll talk about like I guess how he works in the film as well. But I thought that was great. I mean, I
Yeah.
like Matt Smith, but he played a great character. But
Also,
anyway, by having Roman, Detective Roman, feed information to the audience by having her, sort of explain how the crime world works to sort of naive Austin Butler. Then when you make the twist, her, having this conversation with him, and it turns out that she's working as well with these crime syndicates. She becomes like an unreliable narrator, basically, right? So you start to
kind of, yeah.
doubt what she's saying, and then they do stuff like have her execute Colorado exactly the way they're not subtle about it. He's lying on the floor in the same way the Kravitz character was. So they sort of make you think, okay, everything she said might not be true, and then they're like, oh, maybe she um killed his girlfriend.
Yeah.
Sort of, and you're starting to doubt what she's saying. And yeah, there's one scene during the car chase where Russ is like, "Oh, she must have killed your girlfriend, man. She killed in the same way. Uh, Killed Colorado." I was like, I don't know. I thought everyone had sort of already figured that out, and I was like, okay, yeah, that's pretty obvious. It turns out it's not because that's the final twist. But that part, I was like, okay, yeah, way to point it out for the blind. But whatever. That was just sort of a minor nitpick I had. Um, and then yeah, and so the sort of the rest of the movie plays out. You have this whole thing where has this genius plan where he's going to go work with the Hebrews. He sort of
Hmm.
uses them to get at Detective Roman, get his revenge because he's convinced that she killed his girlfriend. Um, the scene with the microbe guy, which where it turns out that he just gets beaten up, and I'm like, oh shit, Austin
Hmm.
Butler's a good fighter, and then he gets his ass kicked in by Roman. Anyway,
Yeah. No, that
um,
whole scene was so insane because especially at the beginning, he's like, that's really like made me like, ooh, shit, this is not going to be Austin Butler handling things. At the very beginning of the movie, he gets like beat to a fucking pulp outside of his apartment.
yeah,
It was like, fuck, especially when he starts peeing blood and he's like, that's not good.
yeah.
Um,
I mean, yeah.
so,
I also want to talk about sort of the underlying theme of the addiction, sort of him coping
mhm.
with his internal trauma. Um, I'm not meaning to rush through everything, but I want to talk about the final twist, which is that turns out the Hebrews did kill him. The Roman
Yeah.
wasn't lying, even though he's sort of led to believe that she's this unreliable narrator. She wasn't lying, and there's this scene where they using the lighter that she had at the beginning of the movie, which it's sort of obvious from the beginning it's going to play a part, but you don't know
Hmm.
what it is. They're like, oh, all you have to do is pull the trigger, whatever. It's this lighter. Um, and they know what they're doing, right? They know
Oh,
that
yeah.
the guy in the back reaches for his gun. Um, and ends up with him sort of prevailing against the antagonist, killing both of them by driving the car into a pole again to do with his internal trauma. But yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was no one, no one in the movie is good, with
No,
the
they're all
exception of maybe our main
terrible
character. I
people.
mean, our main character also kills like people, right?
Mm.
Um, but so they don't. Yeah, it's not as black and white as it seems, and he makes sort of maybe questionable choices. Did he need to kill Roman? He was out on this revenge mission. I mean, he didn't directly kill her, but he's out on this revenge mission, and then it turns out it wasn't a necessary revenge mission, and he sort of really are able to emphasize with the character because you are also believing what he believes throughout the film because yeah, there's just he's hit with so much information that's clearly conflicting information, and you as
Hmm.
the audience also feel that because you don't know who's can which character this police woman who's supposed to be or what you think is supposed to be at the beginning of the film, sort of someone to give you the facts to lay it out for the audience is not. It's sort of all twists and turns until you don't know what to believe, and that makes it great to sort of it's easy to fall for the twist and makes it really interesting to sort of be led along by the story.
Yeah. No, he does. It is really good as like a, we're following this narrative and there's these twists and these turns. I've not really watched a movie like that in a long time that kind of can hold on to that
Yeah.
in that manner. I really thought it was really quite incredible.
Yeah, my two favorite scenes I think in the movie were well, I don't know, I can't say my two favorite scenes. I like the very last scene where he's on the beach.
Hmm.
The one in the car that we were just talking about when it turns out the Hebrews killed his
That one
girlfriend.
was so good. Yeah.
Um, just for the scene itself is good, but I think the greatest twist is still Vaughn dying. That was just crazy.
That was that and the cop Roman like being in on it really blew me away because it
Yeah.
really looks like she's gonna try and have his back throughout it.
Yeah,
And
exactly. That's
then
what you think as the audience member, and that's why it makes it such a great twist because all of a
Mhm.
sudden it's not just the twist of, oh, she's a bad guy, whatever. You start to question everything she's saying because everything you know about these Ukrainians and the Hebrews and the Puerto Ricans and whatever Russ was into is suddenly thrown into question as well, which makes a much bigger twist.
Yeah.
Um, it's sort of obvious, I think, in that scene that she's gonna be a villain. Like I could tell far earlier on. With the other two twists, the Zoe Kravitz lying on the floor, I was like, holy shit. Um, Hebrews pulling out the gun lighter, I was like, holy shit. But with that scene, I'm like, okay, her ass is villain monologuing. She
Yeah.
called for backup. Oh, guess who the backup's gonna be? I saw that coming a mile away. I thought it was a cool twist, but I already saw it coming from the beginning of the scene. I imagine most people did as well. Um,
I think one of my favorite scenes was when we finally get the full like what happened as a teenager with him in the car and like
yeah, him
just
crawling
that
away.
car accident. Also, that car wraps around that pole for such a long fucking time in that
Yeah,
shot.
it's just so they could have the same scene at the end when he drives the other car into the bowl. Um, and there's that weirdly powerful scene with Austin Butler, sort of. Yeah, we can talk about the internal trauma now of him killing his friend,
Hmm.
and you think that's what it is that he was drunk driving, hit the pole, killed his friend because of a cow or whatever. Um, and then, but as the scene plays out, what happens is he looks at his friend, licks his knee, and then is like, "Oh my God!" That's when he starts screaming when he licks his knee.
Yeah.
And there's some really throughout the movie, there's some really powerful performances and scenes from Austin Butler where he like is like, I had everything and it was taken from me. That scene where he's on the phone with his mom, where he's like, I killed my friend, and that's sort of that's some really powerful like I just thought it was some great acting and
Yeah.
the theme of him having to take accountability for and not being able to just blame himself and wallow in pity and drink all day and whatever, having to take initiative because I mean whatever the director and the writers are trying to convey is what they're trying to convey. But what I got from it was throughout the first 70% of the movie, stuff just happens to him. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like he just drinks all the time. His girlfriend just shows up at his place whenever, and they have, um, passionate romantic scenes, and then she goes off to be a paramedic. He's just like drifting through life, having bad dreams because he feels his life was taken from him
Yeah.
in this accident. And then it picks up with what happens with Russ, and but again, he's like, "This is just happening to me. Why is this happening to me? How do I get out of this? Call the cops. The Ukrainians hate me. Stuff is life is just happening to me. This sucks, man." And he after getting beaten up and being told he can never drink again, um, he falls back into his addiction on like a crazy night out where they're like, "Oh, do a shot," and he's like, "Okay, whatever." He does his shot and ends up with him drinking loads, and he's stuff just happens to him. People
Mhm.
make him drink, whatever. That's why he throws up all the door and tells his girlfriend he has nothing good in his life. And stuff's just happening throughout the movie. There's that scene on the beach where he contemplates. I don't know what he's thinking there. It's sort of more symbolic, I think. He's not actually going to walk into the ocean and hold his head under till he drowns. But he's like, do I give up or do I take some action in my own life? And then he does. And all three of the themes, the internal trauma, the alcoholism, and then the more immediate plot, is him taking action, going to the Hebrews saying, I want revenge, and making some plot decisions based on that. And then at the very end of the movie, it's him turning his back on what could have been to decide what could be next, turning off the TV, bottom of the ninth, just before some big play, him saying club soda instead of drinking, and him turning around and to the beach and smiling. Anyway, I just thought it was really good how they worked that. And although there's multiple things going on and there's the main plot and the side plots, all of them work so that he is sort of stuff is happening to him throughout his life, out of his control. Life sucks because of a decision he made years ago. And he just sort of accepted that life sucks and this is what it's going to be. And he's angry and resentful and bitter about it. And then at the end, it's sort of a hopeful movie because, with all the violence and all the loss he endures, he is able to say he take action in his own life and move towards something better. And that was a
Yeah.
lot of me talking that you're gonna have to edit.
Nah, that's fine. Keep the whole thing in. I like how Matt Smith dies from just getting
Yeah,
repeatedly
it was
fucking
normal. It wasn't like
banged in the head.
yeah, and then it just gets worse and worse. Like that happens, man. You get hit in the head with a baseball bat and go to the hospital. It's gonna be bad.
Yeah.
So that was, it's just like that was. I mean, realistic is a term I don't want to throw around, but yeah, I was like, yeah, that could just happen. And then his last words being like, "You twat."
Yeah.
Um,
But he dies on a public bus. So it should be like known that this man's dead. But at the end, Austin Butler
you're right.
presumes his
I didn't think about that.
identity.
I think that was just an excuse for them to do some comedy and have Austin Butler pretend to be British with a mohawk and sort of
Probably.
light the movie. But you're right. He dies on a public bus. I guess he doesn't have a passport on him. Maybe people die on the New York subway all the time. Who knows?
That's a horrifying thought. Um, but yeah, he just kind of fucking passes away, and then Austin Butler's like, all right, I'm gonna presume his identity and fucking take his cat.
Yeah, I also, well, I guess maybe he's still wanted by the police.
Yeah. That and yeah, like you said, I really like that he's like, oh, let me get the club soda and turn off the baseball to look at the water. Also, I like that his mom randomly gets a big bag of money and she's like, oh shit.
The end, Laura Dern, um, playing Hank's mom, shows up when she gets the box. I think it's like an end credit scene, right? She gets
Yeah.
a package with just a whole bunch of money. Anyway, I just thought it was a random cameo to have, but
Yeah, there were a bunch of like kind of momentary things in this that I'm like, oh shit, what is this person doing here? Like I said, Liev Schreiber and Vinny D'Onofrio
yeah, and they're in
under
such
pounds of
makeup that you
makeup.
can't tell um who they are. I think that's great. I think it's really funny you only recognize a few actors.
I like that
And it's some great performances.
Carol Kane is in this, and if she's the person I'm thinking of, she played the booby character, the like grandma, and she's like just kind of in. I mentioned in like one of the last episodes, I've been watching the new Star Trek Strange New World season. She's just in that show. And I didn't recognize her. Like everyone in this movie is under so much thick makeup that I look at the cast list. I'm like, oh shit, this person was in this.
Yeah.
And I just didn't know. Like Bad Bunny is wearing such a I don't know if that's a wig or his real hair, but I did not recognize that that was Bad Bunny.
I had no idea either until I was looking at the cast list just before we talked about this.
And like even Matt Smith is so recognizable, but even like the mohawk in this is like
Yeah.
the costuming department really they should be getting an Oscar for this because holy shit. For
Yeah.
Liev Schreiber and Vinny D alone, I they should be getting Oscars.
Yeah, I really like the characters they played. It's such like a uh difference between like them meeting up with their mom and then being like, should we, they make him think they're nice guys and it's like, yeah, we killed your girlfriend. Should we gouge his eyes out? Whatever. Like a
Yeah.
dichotomy between it
I like
or
at the end right
dichotomy.
before they pull the gun lighter out. they're like, "Ooh, what do we do with this guy?" And he's like, "I really just want to go live my life. I
Yeah.
did
And then
not
they're like,
want
let
to
me
be
give him
involved."
$100,000. And I'm like,
Yeah,
oh, he's gonna do great. And then they're like, you know what? We're just gonna stunt on you. Yeah, we'll give you 100 grand, but you got to be
but
okay with what we did.
give me a
I'm just gonna
life.
show you. They didn't have to do that. He was just trying to be badass as hell.
Yeah,
Anyway,
and it's
I thought it wrapped around really nicely. Yeah,
that car wrapped around that
I don't think I
fucking
was out of
pole really
character. I thought it was
nicely.
good. Yeah,
Yeah, I thought this movie was, oh, it was so good. So good. I want to go back and see it again.
yeah.
And I want Matt Smith's car with the big iron bumpers that
Maybe I should
he,
get Matt Smith's mohawk.
yes, you should come back in the next episode and you'll have Matt Smith's mohawk. I think that'd be
Exactly. I
great.
won't say anything about it. I won't even refer to it.
What kind of car is that? Matt Smith car caught stealing? Because I think that was an Eclipse. Yeah. No. What the fuck car is this? I'm not sure right now. No, that's an Eclipse. I have a great fondness for the Mitsubishi Eclipse. My dad had one when I was growing up. So I love this. Anyways, 100% not the point. The only point that matters is his license plate says arsehole.
Yeah, I thought this. Anyway,
Um, yeah, should we?
I just want to touch on that car scene where Roman and whatever the taller uh no, whatever the shorter microbe, the Ukrainian guy, crash
Mhm.
their car, and they just immediately start running after the other car that
Yeah.
Russ and Hank are in. And it's it's like, okay, what your first thought is to run after the car, it's driving away. And then they hit like a bike rack or something and flip over, so it is actually relevant they're running after it. I just thought that scene made me laugh.
There's a
But yeah,
couple
great
really good,
movie.
like when the Hebrews are initially chasing Austin Butler, who his name is Hank, like you said, but I will only ever refer to him as Austin Butler.
Yeah.
Um, that's such a good foot chase sequence where he's like running and he's really fucking booking it through this grimy ass city.
Yeah, I like the whole thing starts off with one of them just getting one of the brothers just getting out the car and being like, yeah, gesturing at him, Hank,
Mhm.
like, ah, come over here. And he's like, me? Immediately, like we know, we've been told by Roman at that point that they're bad business, they're monsters. Immediately books it.
Yeah.
Um, and then, but because of what Roman said, you're thinking, and then you find out that you're like, oh, maybe they aren't that bad. All they did was like gestured him to come over.
Mhm.
And then they're like, oh yeah, no, should we pull his eyes out? And you're like, okay, no, they are bad people.
Yeah. They're
But
terrible
you're right.
people, but maybe not the worst in this movie.
Yeah. It's arguable. They did like blow up a club
And
and shoot a lot
execute
of
his
people.
girlfriend.
Yeah. They're probably, yeah, I don't know. They're probably one of the worst people in this movie. Um,
But I liked them.
yeah, but I liked them, so yeah, you're right. Maybe we'll give them a pass for all the horror violence they caused.
They
Anyway,
get a pass for being Liev Schreiber and Vinny D and big old beards. Um, Also, I
really,
like
yeah,
that they're like, oh, can we have to go kill Roman? And they're like, okay, first of all, we will. Don't even fucking worry about it. Second, we have to go sit in my grandma's house real quick, and
yeah,
they're just fine with that. And also, they just keep making cracks about one of my favorite jokes in this is because of the car accident, Austin Butler doesn't drive. And it's like a Jewish holiday is coming up, so they can't drive, but Austin Butler is half Jewish. And the
yeah.
grandma's
So it
like, but
actually becomes relevant that he has to
you
drive.
but he's like, oh, well, the grandma's like, you guys can't drive. He's like, we'll make the kid drive. She's like, but he's Jewish. And they're like, we'll make the non-Jewish half drive. And the
Yeah,
grandma's just like,
which it
shit, you're
makes you
right.
really like them, which is why it's so crazy that they're evil. Yeah,
They
you're
are.
right. Foot chase sequence, all the action sequences I thought were, yeah, well shot. I
Yeah.
enjoyed.
Also, shout out to the cat. I don't know if you stayed for the credits and how, first of
Not
all,
the
they were,
final one.
hmm?
If there was one after the scene with the mom and the money, I didn't see that.
No, just the credits in general. They were like changing
Oh yeah,
direction and,
yeah. I know what you're talking about.
um, there were like four different cats.
What
Uh,
that played
yeah, that
with
played the one
oh,
cat. So shout out to them.
was it I wonder if it was one cat that was nice and like one cat that just bit everyone, and then they cut between the two, so he like
I
bit
hope
certain
so. Yeah.
actors, and then didn't, a different cat didn't bite Hank. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, I got nothing I want to touch on. See, watch this movie.
Yes.
If you listen to the spoilers and you haven't seen the movie, that's your own damn fault. But go watch it anyway. It's probably also great, even if you know what's coming. It's way better if you don't. Um, yeah, this was really good.
Yeah.
I'm very glad we decided to review this.
Oh, me too. I feel like there's not a lot of other stuff coming out this month that I really want to see in general, let alone to cover for this. So I'm really glad that this came about and we got a chance to see this because like I said, when the end of the year comes, we'll do like a what made the most money and what we enjoyed the most episode like we did last year. Except you weren't a part of last year's, but we'll do it this year.
Okay,
Um,
good plan.
and I feel like this one's gonna come back
Yeah, I
and we'll
mean,
be
you're right.
talking
It's
about that.
I mean, and maybe because the twist that they had to do, the trailer made it seem like a totally different movie, which I was fine with because we were going to see it anyway, and then it made the twist even more effective. But
Hmm.
it certainly seemed like, I mean, I was just excited for it because like the cast and the music and the action, looked good in some of the trailers. But totally different movie than I thought. Really, really good. It comes at the end of sort of, blockbuster season. Um, but man,
Yeah,
I hope it does well because actually I know I hope it does well enough that they don't decide to make a sequel because I can see it being like a Nobody 2 all over again. I think Hank's story is finished, but
I don't think they'll do a caught stealing too. One, I don't think this is gonna make enough money to warrant that. But and we'll I'm glad you said that because we should touch on that real quick. This was apparently made for $40 million,
okay.
which I feel like is really good.
That's really low. I imagine a lot of it went to casting. I'm trying to think. There's not a lot of special effects. That car scene is probably a lot, but the rest of it, is filmed. Most of it's filmed like in an apartment.
Yeah. This, as of right now, has only made about 10 million.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's like criminal, actually. This was such an incredible movie.
Oh man. Well, you know what? Whatever. I really enjoyed it. I think it should make more money.
Oh, never mind. Worldwide, it's cracked about 15 million, which is still
That's
an
nuts.
insane loss. Because you think $40 million budget, you usually have to double that for marketing. So this
Yeah.
probably cost around $80 million. So hopefully, when we come back to discuss at the end of the year the biggest hits and bombs,
Yeah, everyone listened to this podcast and then decided to go see it the second weekend is out and it made 100 million.
yeah. Hopefully, we don't talk about this on the biggest bombs list because that'll break my heart, I think.
Yeah, this is such a good film, man. Oh my God, I'm so glad we went to see it. Um,
Yeah,
Everyone
me
should watch
too.
it. But I haven't seen a lot of people talking about it, but that was good.
No, it was really good. I hope this survives off of like word of mouth for a little bit.
Hmm.
All right, let's wrap it here. Thanks everyone for listening to this. If you like this, we have so many episodes of these out now. I think this is episode 12 or 13. So we've done a few of these. If you want to check out last week's, we covered Nobody 2, where you can listen to us be really disappointed in a movie.
Yeah,
And if you want to hear something similar, my friend Gary and I do a comic book podcast called Trading Paperbacks that releases just about every week. We miss sometimes, things happen. And if you want something with actual visuals, we do a series called Hit or Miss, where we talked about most recently Fantastic Four 2005. So we'll see you all. Actually, I don't know if we'll be back in 2 weeks, but we will definitely be back with something at some point this month. So we'll see you all then. Adios, everyone.